This is Dr. Matt Barber of Alabama Orthopedic Clinic. We are proud supporters of Ransom Reprogram, Ransom Ministries, and all of the good work that they do in our community. If you would like to learn more about us, check us out at alortho.com or barbertotaljoint.com. You can also hear more from me personally on the Ortho Real podcast. Thank you again for allowing us to be involved with Ransom Ministries and all of the great work that they do.
Hey, welcome to the Ransom Experience. My name is Matt Armbruster, Executive Director of Ransom Ministries. You're going to hear stories from people that we've served and people that serve alongside us, as well as those that we partner with throughout our community. You're going to hear about decisions they made throughout their life and things that happened through different avenues of their life that caused them to go down a path that they didn't see themselves going. And then also those decisions that they have to make on a daily basis to stay away from those decisions that they made in the past. Ransom Ministries empowers people to utilize their God-given gifts and talents in their career and for their community. All along the way, we learn how to help those close to us and also maybe even help ourselves. This is real. This is raw. This is Ransom.
With every star, we are born again. Open your heart, spend less time in your head.
This show is brought to you by Ransom Recycling, your number one choice for electronic recycling in Mobile, Alabama. Help reduce waste in our landfills by recycling all of your unwanted, unused, and non-working electronics. Ransom Recycling is a division of Ransom Ministries that is helping to put men and women back to work. Check out ransomministries.com for a complete list of acceptable items. Drop-offs and pickups can be easily scheduled through the website. Please note that we are not accepting TVs at this time. Ransom Recycling, open 8 to 3 Monday through Friday. Help our planet while helping men and women re-enter the workforce.
With every star, we are born again. Open your heart, spend less time in your head.
Hey, welcome to the Ransom Experience, where we talk to different individuals that have been through our program, but also partners that we have that we partner in ministry and those that serve alongside us. Today, I have Rick from the Waterfront Rescue Mission. He's the Executive Director, welcome.
Thanks, Matt. I appreciate the opportunity to come out here and speak to you and all of the other partners and guests that are listening today. Thank you.
Man, it's great to have you. So the Waterfront Rescue Mission is a mission for homeless men. That's right, you do just men, right? You don't have women and men, just
That
men.
is correct.
Homeless men, and they have a lot of different programs, but I'm going to let Rick tell you a little bit about the programs they have, and then kind of we'll talk about how we met and how we got involved with each other. So tell us a little bit about the Waterfront and what all y'all offer.
I'd be happy to, Matt. So the first thing I'd like folks to know about the Waterfront Rescue Mission is that we've been doing this for about 70 years. Celebrated our 70-year anniversary just a little while ago, and it started out as a very small organization right there on the waterfront, where we were helping local businessmen find a place for all the men that were piling up on the benches at the park and in the doorways of the local businesses. So it was actually their wives who got together and decided that they needed a place for these men to stay, and so they opened their very first location downtown right off of Water Street. Then we moved to another location on State Street, where we stayed for several decades, and it's where most people know about the mission. In fact, that building's still there today. It's been repurposed into a restaurant, but our slogan, which is, if you don't have a friend in the world, you'll find one here, is still emblazoned on that building today. So currently we're serving homeless men, as you mentioned, at our new location, which is right over there on North Washington Avenue. It's a beautiful, I want to say state-of-the-art mission. And we serve two general populations. They're all men. They're all homeless. But we kind of divide that up into rescue and recovery programs for the men. So if we think about rescue, that's like throwing a life raft out to somebody. That stops them from drowning, right? Mm-hmm. So our rescue programs go out to those homeless men who are predominantly, living on the street or living out of their cars or some other location not meant for habitation. And what we do is we give them an opportunity to come in and have a clean bed, get a warm shower, a hot meal, and a gospel message each and every night so that they can get their footing underneath them and figure out a plan for their future, which is what most men tell us is the most difficult part. A lot of them have skills, a lot of them have abilities, desires, dreams, goals, just like you and I do. But when they're living on the street and they're constantly fearful for their personal safety, for what's going to happen tomorrow, they really don't get a chance to think about and plan their futures very, very much. So what we do at the mission is we give them a hand up rather than a handout. There's a lot of places will give a man a shirt and a meal, send them on their way, wish them well, pray for them, but we give them an opportunity to move forward and recapture what Satan has stolen from their lives.
Man, and that is why what drew me to you guys too is because that's our whole philosophy is that, we're not about here to give you all these free handouts. And, we always talked about, there's relief, rehabilitation, and development. And y'all, the relief is the rescue to get them the things they need, food, clothing, house, roof over their head. And then the rehabilitation moves you into a place where, hey, let's get back to where you were before. Let's get back to the state that you were originally in before you became homeless, before you became addicted, whatever that might be, and then develop them into something more than even they can think they could do, So I think that's what drew me to your whole philosophy, but also your belief in Jesus also drew, because we met that day, sat in a circle I'll never forget, and y'all asked me what our thoughts were, and I think we both agreed that we both had the same mission. We're trying to get people closer to Christ, but also get them to understand who they were made to be and become that. So I think that's great. So back in, it was actually last summer, we met right here. So tell me kind of what our partnership has meant to you guys.
So we're very grateful for the partnership that the Lord has brought us together under. As part of our ministry, we help men in a program called Career Development. So we allow them to assess their educational background, their skill set, goals about what they want to do in the future, and stop the habit of jumping from job to job and focus more on a long-term path for a career. Now, having said that, we didn't have a lot of structure in that program. Basically, what it amounted to is we had a number of employers that were looking to fill holes in their employment, and they would look to us to bring guys out to them. And that was fine, but it didn't really meet the goal that we had of future planning. So when we found Ransom Ministries, and we heard about the process that you take the men through, process of realization, and the process of self-determination, what it is that God is calling them to do and what they need to do to step up to that opportunity, we were very impressed. And in fact, the men that we have sent over here, I think have done for the most part a wonderful job determining not just, what they're going to do, but who they are and why they want to pursue a particular career or goal. So that really gave more process and structure than we had previously.
It's meant more just structure so you had somewhere. And we've had some great guys come through here. We've had some that don't do well always, but that we have that everywhere. It doesn't, being in ministry, you can only do what you can do. You can give them the tools that they have. We can direct them towards the Lord. We can show them the skills they have, but ultimately it comes down to, human choice and when they choose to do certain things. So I love the partnership we have. You guys get them here. They're very willing to do what they need to do. There hasn't been I don't think, maybe one. There's been a couple, I guess, that haven't finished the program, but the majority of them have finished. Most of them have walked through it. It's just walking afterwards maybe sometimes is a little difficult, but they are great workers. Every one of them you sent me, I've been very happy with. And actually, one of the guys you sent me is now the guy that runs the shop for me. You sent Brian to us.
Yeah.
And Brian he's come a long ways. He's still got things to do, but I think it's a great opportunity. You've given me the opportunity to mentor him on a more lengthy basis for him. So I think he's doing a great job. He's learning some more leadership skills. So sending him was a great thing for our ministry too. So a lot of times what I found out when I first got in ministry was, man, I was willing to work with anybody. I didn't care. You know, if you had the same belief system, we're good, man. Let's just walk through this. But I found out that not everyone was like that. There's a lot of territorial things that go on with ministry, and, you know, there's the money pool's not always the biggest, so we're always afraid they're going to take our money pool. And but how have you seen with collaboration how that's actually helped your ministry?
Right. So I agree with you completely. Back when I was a community pastor with a church, I would look to do big projects and pull multiple churches together and bring everybody to do this big project. And I found very little cooperation. Everybody wanted to see the project getting done, but they didn't really want to partner on the project. And in any event, so I think we're really blessed at the mission to be in a position where, you know, nobody else really wants to own our space.
Yeah, that's right.
There's not too many.
It's a tough space to own, by the way.
There's not too many places that are going to house homeless men, drug addicted men, men with mental illnesses and whatnot. I mean, we take them all. I got a lot of guys from the Veterans Association that come in with PTSD, and it's a difficult group to manage as you can imagine. And you know, my hat goes off to all of our chaplains for the time and effort that they put in to mentor these guys. But in any event, so we kind of see ourselves as a foundational ministry, giving these men a place to come to be able to collect their thoughts and put their fears aside and open up and prepare to hear the word of the gospel. Now, as far as partners are concerned, there's lots of things that these guys would like to do. There's lots of things they'd like to accomplish. They've got relationships that need to be rebuilt. They've got jobs that need to be pursued. They've got fortunes that need to be reclaimed. And some of them have physical ailments that need to be corrected, as well as mental issues that need to be addressed. There's a lot of things that they want to do. We can't help them with all that.
That's right.
We can't do that. So what we attempt to do in partnerships are to find those organizations that meet the needs of our men that don't really compete with us.
Yeah, gotcha.
Right? And so that's why this partnership works out so well. We don't send everybody over to you who says they want to work, because we know that's probably not the truth of the situation. What we do is we'll have guys come in, and they'll spend about 45 days in a work training program that we provide there at the mission. So they'll learn culinary arts, they'll learn landscaping, they'll learn some maintenance inside the building. We give them jobs because it takes a village to run the mission. So they'll be working there for about 45 days. And the ones who demonstrate a willingness and desire to move forward and are actually willing to put the work in, those are the ones that we're going to recommend to you and to other partnerships for various and other reasons. So they're a little pre-qualified, and I think that makes for a better partnership, that you know something about the guys that you're getting, and so you know the expectations are being met, and instead of being disappointed, we've got more successes, I believe, far more than failures.
Oh yeah, definitely, and I think knowing that they've already kind of got the basic. You've already seen that they can work a little bit has helped us, because I've seen in them that it's not as long of a learning curve. You know, some of my guys that come in here, they're just coming straight out of prison, so they've been not working, doing anything for however long that is, and then you get them here, and it takes them a month or longer to like acclimate to working, to doing something on a continual basis. So I see these guys, the guys you send me who have already done that for a period of time, whether it be Brian working in the kitchen or Stetson working in the kitchen, all those guys have kind of got that work stamina, I guess, what I call it, especially in the summertime, where they can work and not grow weary, I guess, through that. So it works a little better, because then they're more apt to be listening to the class time when we're talking about the trauma and all the different things that go along with being a good employee. So I think that partnership, and I'm a firm believer that partnership, like you said, you look for people doing something that your people need, because there's no use in reinventing something that's already being done, because then that you can use those resources for something else.
Exactly.
Better.
And that's exactly what we do. So if we're not managing all of the men at one time, we've got some of them over here in this partnership, and then we've got some over with our medical partners, so they're doing physical examinations, and they may be doing assessments for any type of mental illness or whatnot. Then we can focus on the ones that are there at the mission. We've got a 5-point plan, goal setting plan that we work with these men on, and it takes a while for these guys to get to a position where they're comfortable enough to express what it is they're experiencing, right? So what led you to become homeless? What happened with the relationships that you used to have but no longer possess? What happened to your job? What happened to you in your relationship with the Lord? I mean, a lot of these guys grew up in church, right? Dad was a deacon, and mom was serving up the Sunday meal every week afterwards, and so they need to be in a place where they feel comfortable discussing that, and there's really no shortcut to that. In order to reach that place, we've got to be able to spend time with these guys, side by side, shoulder to shoulder, working on something, because most men relate to that, relate to work. So that gives us an opportunity to spend some time with the new guys that are coming in, so we get to know them better, they get to know us, and we can get to that point where we can get to the truth of their situation. Because oftentimes they're going to hide behind a mask, a wall, or whatever, some barrier that they're going to put out there so that you don't get to know the real them. And it takes a while to get through that.
Well, then that's what I see too, is, that for a little while they are putting up that mask because they don't know who they can trust. They don't know who they can really, and we just had a conversation about that today, actually, about why, because we had one of our guys kind of fall away and did some things he shouldn't have. And one of the guys that was a volunteer said, well, wonder why he didn't call, why didn't he talk to us? And one of the people stood up and said, well, because he didn't feel comfortable. Mm-hmm. And that takes time. You can't do that in a month. Some people can figure it out in a couple of weeks, but there's some people that are been wearing that mask their whole lives that they don't know how to put it down. They don't know how to be real. They don't know how to communicate. So those are things I think as a partnership, they're getting that with you, like during the times they're not here. And then when they're here, they're getting that with us. So there's that building that network of trust that not only the Waterfront, but also Ransom. And I think it just helps have multiple layers of accountability. You don't just have Rick telling them what to do or telling them what they need to do to move on, but you also have Matt, you have Brian, you have John, you have all your chaplains. So there's that whole level of accountability that I think some of them have never experienced. They've never had multiple people holding them accountable to do right. Most of the time they've had people telling them what to do wrong. So I think that partnership adds those things. And I think people and ministries are missing out by not having these partnerships. Plus, if you're saving money, I mean, if it's all about money, and nonprofits and all of us struggle to keep that money coming in so that we can do what we do. But if we're just throwing it away, but if we're saving it through partnerships, so I don't do housing. I mean, I thought about it one time, getting these houses and putting people up, but why do that when there's an organization already doing it and we can partner and then spend those resources on things that we do and free up ministry dollars for yourself? So I think budget-wise, it's a smart thing to do. I think people-wise, it's a smart thing to do. I think more ministries need to do it and not worry so much about territories. Now, I do, don't try to, I'm not going to come do, you and I can't partner in a housing thing because, like I said, you do it. I don't. I'm good with that. I don't do a lot of things that I partner with other. We don't do women's rehab. I partner with Home of Grace. Right. So I don't have to do that. I don't want to do what you do, to be honest. I like doing what I do.
So there is one area of the housing that I'd love to partner with you on. So the second area of our main area of our organization is the recovery side. So we've got rescue, which we've talked about, and now we've got the other half, which is recovery. So men come to us and they've lost virtually everything and everybody who's been in their life because they have succumbed to a life-dominating issue.
Yeah.
Could be drugs, could be alcohol, gambling is a big one, pornography, could be a lot of things.
Yeah.
But something is taking control of their life, and they've lost everything. So for those gentlemen, we invite them to come look at our recovery program, which is a 3-month, it's a 90-day program, in-house, Christ-centered, right? So they're going to hear the gospel over and over again and learn how to apply that to their lives.
Yeah.
Okay? And how to use the Word of God in order to overcome their addiction and to stay sober. Now, there's the interesting part. Most of these guys are going to do fine while they're in-house,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
they've got chaplains around them. They've got their other brothers around them. They don't want to let people down. So they'll put their best foot forward. When they graduate, we usually offer them another 90-day process where they can receive some assisted living housing situation. So they're going back into the workforce.
Yeah.
They're going to start facing all those temptations and desires and trials that they had before they got to the program. And they need to be in a safe environment. So we have all of that in our Pensacola location. We do not have that here in Mobile.
Okay.
So guys that go through the program, they're successful. They want to come back to Mobile and they want to work and live. They can stay here at the mission, but eventually they're going to leave the mission. They need a place to go that's a sober living environment, one that's got some level of oversight to it, but one where they can really start to grow in their sobriety, work their program, and make sure that they don't fall back into the situation. So that's an area I would love to partner with you guys on and other organizations that are in that space. And there's not very many of them, unfortunately, right now.
So you're speaking of more of like a transition type thing where they would transition from being under your care to just like, it's kind of that next step. I've kind of always thought about transition housing because it is an important thing, kind of that same thing, that they have that accountability. Mm-hmm. Just not, you give them a little more freedom to see how they're going to do.
Right.
And I think we could partner somehow with like the staffing part of what we're doing is putting people to work. At least they have the job part of it.
Right.
And we're going to talk about that because I've been really interested in that. I've actually got a whole, I'm a big firm believer in like being proactive and not reactive. So whenever I get an idea, I just kind of write it down and I start planning for it. You know, in case it comes, I want to be ready for it.
Be ready. Got to have a plan.
So we've come up with a couple housing options that we think would work and I'll have to show it to you and see what you think. I know y'all already got it. We just got to figure out how to do it in Mobile.
There you go.
So I think that would be a great next step for us. Again, I think it's because we both have the same mentality of, hey, we're going to give these guys a hand up, not a hand out. We're going to give them Jesus and we're going to move them closer to him and then eventually becoming what God had intended them to be. So one of the things I want to leave, as I always leave these podcasts with, is just some words of wisdom to maybe someone in the ministry that is doing this every day on a day in, day out basis, kind of encouraging word, and also just people that are out there struggling on how to help their loved ones or the guys that's struggling with drugs. You know what? So I know that's like 3 things. So just give them a word of wisdom from Rick, because I know you're full of wisdom. So
yeah. Okay. So I would say that you need to make sure that you're taking care of yourself and your staff. All right. So this has been heavy on my mind because we give every day. We give and we give and we give, and it's a never-ending flow of requests from the people that we serve. It's constant. It's continuous. And they don't come at you one at a time. It's 3 or 4 at a time, and there's more at the door, and there's another one on the phone. And Lord help you if they get your phone number, because they're going to be asking you for stuff all day long, right?
Try not to give mine.
So you need to make sure that you're taking time out for you, for your spouse, and for your staff. You need to make sure that you're continually feeding them, and that you're continually building yourself up. Because let's face it, if you get worn down, you've got nothing left to give. Probably going to end up getting sick, and in this environment, that could be a real hazard.
Yeah, that's right.
So you need to stay strong. I would say the second thing is we all tend to rely on different things to be successful, to move the ball forward, right? So some people rely on their experience, others rely on their education. Got a lot of certified addiction drug counselors out there that do a great job. I tend to rely on the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
And what he's been telling me to do more often than not is to pray with people. You know, folks come to you and they're looking for an answer. Man, I've spent the last 10 years driving my life into the ground, and I need you to fix it for me.
Yeah, right now.
Yeah, right now. I got 10 minutes, and you got to come up with a solution. And for me, more often than not, the solution to that is to pray with them and ask for guidance from the Holy Spirit to tell us if we're going to go left, or if we're going to go right, or if we're just going to stay in this spot for right now.
Yeah.
Because
Gotcha.
jumping oftentimes is going to put you in a worse spot than you were before.
That's right.
And I've seen that happen too often. So that's what I would say for Rick's word of the wisdom for today. You don't know exactly what to do in any given situation. Ask for the Holy Spirit to help you, because he's a gentleman. He's never going to force himself into a situation, and he's going to give you exactly what you need to know at that time.
That's awesome. That's good advice. I learned a lot from you. I'm going to have to start doing that myself, because I can always tell when I'm like burning out or getting spent, because everybody annoys me and everything comes through just, it seems a lot harder. So I know it's time to step away and just do something for me, and,
Right.
and feed our batteries, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, I appreciate you coming by today. I mean, it's always a pleasure for you to come by and see us, and also just the guys that you send here. I really believe in what you do, believe in what you're doing for our community, and so I'm thankful that you were able to come be on our podcast today. So thanks for coming by.
I appreciate the opportunity, and definitely appreciate the delicious lunch. You guys,
Yeah, we had fish fry today. So
I'm going to be by more often now.
Mr. Bill fried us some fish up, and I see my guys out there doing wires sitting in their chairs. They're not doing a whole lot of standing. I think either they're sleeping. I can't tell, but
We know why.
But we like to take care of them. Mr. Bill wanted to do it, so I appreciate you. I'm glad you got to partake in that too.
Mm-hmm.
Man, we are so thankful that you joined us today on the Ransom Experience. We hope that you glean some information from Rick and what they do at the Waterfront. We are very blessed to have them as one of our partners. So I hope that you'll go to the website and check out what they do. And if you feel led, you can give towards what they do in their ministry. Also be praying about all the people that go through there. You can also check us out at www.ransomministries.com. You can follow us on all our social media. Make sure that you share this podcast with your friends, subscribe, like us, and do all those things that help get the word out and get these stories out to people in our community. Man, we appreciate you joining us. Until next time, we'll see you next week.
Too many days in the darkness without a glimpse of the light. Running tired and broken and scared, but I swear I'll never give up the fight. With